What's up, everyone? And this is Next Level Thinking. What's up, everyone? It's another episode of Next Level Thinking, where we're here to inspire you to take it to that next level and overcome any kind of obstacle. As you know, it's your host, Chris Holmes, bringing you inspirational guests all the time. But today, my special guest is by the name of
Newton Cordeiro.
Awesome. So to start the ground running, tell the audience a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thanks again, Chris, for having me on. A little bit about myself. I am a 22-year-old, currently a philanthropist in the making. I'm right now in the process. I have my own startup business, and I'm currently working with different long-term equity investments to try and build my capital-wise so that I can provide income for my family. As you know, like I always tell people, when I grew up, my parents always took care of me, so now it's my turn to take care of them.
Okay, awesome. So, like, you talked about a little thing about investments. Give me a little bit more into that, because I'm pretty sure you have some people out there as the audience want to know how to invest in much more, and maybe you can provide some guidance on to that.
Right. So the way I take a look at investments, well, I believe that anybody that's going to make an investment, the thing that they have to invest on is, and what they should primarily be looking at, is never the actual return on the investment, but really the strategy and what the investment details of. So what I mean by that is, if you think about it for a second, you're not going to hear a person's pitch on why you should invest into either their company, their idea, or their market. You're going to want to hear how they're going to do it, because how they do it, their strategy, how they go about it, what their attack plan is really what will set them apart from anybody else, and how and where they will succeed. So that's my belief when it comes to investing, is always invest in the strategy, never in the actual item. You know, not so much the item, but more the strategy.
You know, that's
as far as my... Right, go ahead.
No, I was about to say, that's a huge, different perspective, because, most of the people look at the other way around. And when you said, invest in the strategy, that's, bringing things to a whole nother perspective.
Yeah, it's a whole different look on when it comes to investing that most people don't do. And I feel that the reason, when it comes to people investing, the way that they'll do it normally is they got this whole bunch of cash, and they say, well, I'm going to invest in these ideas that sound nice, and one of them is going to pan out. And usually that works. You know, you out of 10 tries, you're going to get at least 2 right?
Right.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I look at it and I think to myself, well, I want to get it right 5 out of 10 times. You know, I want to look at a person, and I don't want to just invest into someone's idea because they told me that their product does this. It's not okay, you have an amazing product or you have an amazing, strategy, idea to build a business around or something like that, and that is great. But what happens when, they don't have the capability of being able to market themselves? They don't have the capability to correctly pitch this idea to you. It's not going to sound as great, is it? If I'm going to go and I'm going to present to somebody and say, hey, you should throw your money at me, I need to have a strategy into how I'm going to use that money effectively. What is it that I'm going to use that person's investment for? And that is what me, as an investor, I want to hear. I don't want to just hear, here's my money, do whatever you want with it, just make me more money. I mean, that's the simple way to go about it. But I want to listen to, okay, so if this product of yours is so good, how are you going to explain this to people? Because you can give them an hour-long lecture, you can give them a 5-minute explanation that makes their eyes open and their jaws drop, and they want to throw their money at you. I mean, it's all about the pitch. It's about the strategy. It's about how you go about things, And that's what I think is what you should invest in. It's not so much, the product is good, that's great, that's the first step. That's not the whole thing. It's not your checklist, it's just good product. Your checklist should be good product, and what about the strategy? How are you going to go about this?
Yeah, great answer, and I'm glad that you hit more details about that, because you can get a person all hyped up, but if they don't understand the strategy in the depths and detail about it, it may hurt them in the end. But if you explain all of that, it's, I guess, on what I'm getting from your answer, it's almost okay, I can give you like 100 fish, but if I teach you how to fish, it's much better. I guess is that like where you're going?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's much.
Exactly. Like, right. Right. Like, I want to know how you fish, not so much on what fish you're going to catch. Because if you don't know how to fish, you can't catch any fish to begin with.
Exactly. So with that,
Right.
said, like I heard you like on the East Coast. So like, tell me like how is like the entrepreneurship over there? Because like I'm over here in Texas, the South. But like, how's entrepreneurship on the East Coast? Is it faster? Of course, I know you by the beaches. Like, how's it when doing business?
Well, when it comes to entrepreneurship, I'll be honest with you. Miami is so I'm in Miami, Florida, and I honestly, personally, I think that if you want to find a place that has one of the most opportunities for you to find, it was probably Miami. The reason I mentioned this is because you're gonna go to other places, and yeah, you might go to Texas, and you'll find mostly Americans in Texas, or maybe some more up north, you'll find the majority of Americans. But I personally, like, from me living in Miami, I think I'm confident enough to say, excuse me, I think I'm confident enough to say that Miami is the one place that you can consider that might as well not be part of the United States.
Oh, wow.
And the reason being is because there's just so much diversity here. Here, you're not just going to find Americans. You're going to find Americans. You're going to find Venezuelans. You're going to find Cubans. You're going to find Mexicans. You're going to find Nicaraguans. You're going to find Colombians. You're going to find Brazilians. I myself am Brazilian. So you're going to find such a big diversity that there's different opportunities. Like, for example, one of my first investors was not a person that had a company here in America. It was a person that was visiting over in America because they actually decided to just get. But I would have never met that person if they didn't come vacation over here, or if they didn't just come over here to live because they have family that's over here. So it's those types of things. Like, I think that Miami is where you find the most diversity, and because of that diversity, you have a bigger opportunity. It's like I always tell people, the amount of money you can make in a country is one thing, but the amount of money you can make when you expand yourself to the entire market, right? Like, to everywhere, not just one country, but countries, like all over the world, then you really expand yourself. That's what the opportunity to make money is really at.
Yes, and I'm glad you keyed on to that, because then that gives me a better idea for it. And that's great, honestly, that you have so many different people from different countries and much more all into that one area. And it just wakens and opens up your eyes. And in addition with all of that, it creates so much more opportunity, because you can network and do business with somebody who's from a different country. And imagine when they go back, they refer you to their other friends. And now you just went from just national to international. So the impacts of doing that can be huge.
Exactly. That's exactly the point.
Yeah. So, like, just to follow up on that, like, how important it is to network. I feel like you have a lot of new starting entrepreneurs that feel like they're entitled to, like, people just walking up to them and, getting their service and much more. But in the real world, that's not always the case, especially in the beginning. Like, how important it is to actually just go out there, and a lot of times on a leap of faith, of just network and put your name out.
Well, when it comes to, especially if you're a person that's going to be in the startup business, especially if you're going to have something that's, an idea or an item or whatever it is that you're opening up your business around, the first thing I think about is if you're going to go in with a prideful mentality, which is what I assume you're explaining in the sense of when you tell me, these entrepreneurs sometimes think that people just have to walk up and throw their money at them. I think that's the wrong way to look about it. I don't think that's how anybody makes money. See, I believe that being an entrepreneur, I'm offering something to someone. I'm coming up with an idea. I'm coming up with an item. I'm coming up with something that is first an idea in my head, and I'm making it into a reality. That's why I love entrepreneurship so much. But who cares? Like, why are people forced to care about what I think or what my idea is? No. I want my idea to cater to the world. I want it to be a service. I want to offer something to not only better my community, better the people around me, better the people that are coming into business with me or into partnerships or buying my items, my ideas. I want them to benefit from that. I can't have them benefit from that if I just sit around, expect with a smug face, expecting them to come up and say, yeah, that's right, you better invest into this. That's not the case. I want to show them why. Look, I'm offering you this. Now you decide if this is good or not. You know what I mean? It's not so much thinking about, the prideness of, yeah, I came up with a good idea and this is a good idea. That's great. And I believe everyone should think like that. If you have an idea that you think is good, make it into reality. Run to it, make that into something. That's what chasing your dreams is all about, But with that being said, don't expect people to just walk up to you and say, here you go. Humble yourself. Understand that they don't understand your perspective. They don't get your idea. I walk up to someone and I say, I want you to grasp it. How can I explain this in a way that you will grasp the idea of what I'm trying to offer you? That's when you truly humble yourself, because you're worried about them. You're not worried about making your business grow. You're worried about growing with people. You're worried about making others grow because you're growing. You understand? It's a little bit different of a mentality there.
Yes, and that's definitely great points as well. Strongly agree with that, because when you switch your incentive to make sure that your customer is getting full value and benefit from whatever product or service you're giving to them or serving to them, it puts it in a whole nother perspective, and then it actually helps them. You're not just focused on the money part or just trying to take away somebody's money, which is long-term bad business. But if you are actually giving them tremendous amount of value, you're making sure you're solving their problem, or you're making their business expand, or whatever it may be, or just making their lives even much easier, it goes a long way. And then on top of that, they'll refer you to their friends, and that just keeps you growing and expanding.
Exactly. I think that when you stop doing things with expectations, that's when you truly succeed in something. I don't help my neighbor out because I expect him to help me out when I need something, or because I expect to be able to knock on his door and he's going to do the same thing for me. I help my neighbor out because it's the right thing to do. I'm human, I have to share love with people. I can't go about my life saying that, I'm this, I'm that, when I don't share that. You understand? If I help my neighbor, if I help this person, I do it with no expectation. I don't want anything in return. I just want to make sure that you benefited from this, from my idea. Because if not, then what's the point of my idea exactly? Because I want to grow. Congratulations. You're never going to grow if you keep giving without expectation, with expectations aside. It's when you stop the expectations that you actually begin to succeed.
Nice, strong points. So with this, I think I need to add this question: how important it is for even if you're not a business person, to understand your full value. I feel like a lot of times, especially with social media and much more, we pretty much throw under the bus or underneath our true value of what we're capable of, because we're comparing ourselves to others instead of just focusing on our own lane and just doing you. So in your best answer, tell the audience why is it so important to understand your true value and just focus on you and letting things pan out.
Right. I mean, if I can give the simplest answer to that, I think that the reason why it's important to value your strengths and understand what you're good at and find out what you're good at, I think the simple answer to that is just because you have something to offer. Everyone has something to offer. I personally believe that every single person is on this earth with a purpose, with talent and gifts. And if you're not using those gifts, if you're not utilizing those talents, and if you're not putting them to good use, then why do you have them to begin with? What are you doing with your life? It's so important for someone to honestly realize that God gave you a talent. That talent, that gift that you have, that thing that you're so good at, if you're not using it, you're wasting it. And I'm not for believing in wasting anything, especially something that was given to you by God, especially something that was written into your DNA. Like, you think, like, NBA players, soccer players, people that are successful businessmen, maybe if you're just good at teaching, you're the best teacher, you're a good professor. I mean, that's a gift. That's written into your DNA. You have talent, and you're not putting it to any use. You're not going to be able to truly have a type of happiness if you're not able to utilize that talent. You're just going to go through life working some useless 9-to-5 that you hate being in because it has nothing to do with your talent, and you just hate doing that job. And you're going to come home and you're just going to think that that is your norm, is working every day to have like this horrible job that like it pays well, it puts food on the table for my family, but you hate working there. Are you honestly going to tell me that 70% of your life that you spend working, you're just going to be miserable then?
Ooh.
When you have a talent that you can offer people that will bring happiness to others and in turn bring happiness to you. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly. You should be taking full advantage of not only your talents, but more importantly, your time. I mean, your time is valuable. You hit on another big point. Is like you don't want to waste, like you said, like I believe 70% of your time at a place where you're miserable, you can't stand it. I mean, I honestly believe that is not the way you should live life. Of course, we're going to have a trials, tribulations, and the come up, but ultimately, I believe that we should be happy at the end of the day while we live our lives.
Correct. I think that if you're right now doing something that you don't believe in, if you're right now doing something that you hate doing, something that you just don't want to be there, then don't do it and don't be there. I mean, there's just no point. You're not effective. When you don't want to do something, by human nature, you are less effective in it. When you don't want to do something, you might have to do it, and therefore you get it done, but you're less effective. You're less effective because, unfortunately, as much as you don't want it to, emotions play a role in everything you do. And if you're not in a state where you find this to be interesting, you want to do it, you're happy being at this place, you're happy doing this service, then you're going to be less effective in it. You're going to be less effective. You yourself are going to be miserable. What's the point of putting yourself through that? Oh, because I have mouths to feed. Well, guess what? I have mouths to feed at home as well. I take care of my parents because they took care of me, and now it's my turn to take care of them. And I still quit my job. I was working at a place where I hated every single day that I woke up and went there to work. I couldn't wait for the weekend. But at some point in time, I looked at it and I said, you know what? I am so tired of living for the weekend. I want to live Monday to Monday. And that's exactly what I did. The next day, actually, I didn't even quit. I got fired. Within that same week, I got fired from that place because I was just performing so horribly that they said, you know what, we got to let you go. And so many people can think, oh, it's because I'm not good at this, or I'm not good at anything, and they can fall into that pit. They could, or they could bring out of them that motivation that says, you know what, there's a reason why I'm not good at this. So what? You're good at something. Definitely you're good at something. So let's figure out what that is. There's no time to be wasted. You can't be working at a place that you hate. You gotta use that time to find what you're good at, to find what you like, to find what you enjoy. You'll never work a day in your life.
Yes, very strong and inspiring words like that, and I do strongly agree. It is very important. And I think the word that I hear a lot when it comes to things you were saying is self-awareness. Is just being aware of what you're good at, what your strengths, what your weaknesses, what you enjoy, what you hate, and just being honest to yourself. I feel like a lot of times people are just dishonest to themselves and try to force something that is not meant to be and wondering why they keep hitting this brick wall. I believe that if you just stay true to yourself, just be honest, you pretty much get away and just like, okay, that's not me, but this is me. All right, that's not for me, but okay, I'm so glad I did that because now I'm saving my time and I can put more energy into the things I need to be doing because that is me as a person, instead of trying to force something or keep running through a brick wall when it's not really meant for you to go through.
Exactly. It's that whole thing. You said it all right there. Sometimes there's brick walls that you're not meant to go through. Like I said, I have my own beliefs, right? I know I had mentioned God before, and I'm a strong believer that I have people, that I sometimes talk to. Like, this isn't something that I think a lot of people misinterpret that, oh, this only happens to people that have like religious beliefs. Like, I'm Christian. There's a lot of people that, Christians that will misinterpret this and say, oh, these types of things only happen to you if you don't believe in God. And that's not the case. I talk to so many people, so many Christians, in fact, that, they sit there and they think, man, but what if I'm not supposed to be here right now? What if instead of being here, I'm supposed to be, I don't know, in Seattle, or if I'm supposed to be doing this, or what if I'm supposed to be doing that? And it's funny because the first thing that I tell them is to stop and take a breather. You have to understand that, it's the best example I can give you is my father. At 40 years old, that's what people consider the halfway point in an average human's lifespan. Most people live till 80 or so, 80 or 90. Well, at 40, that we can honestly say 40 to 45 is a average human's lifespan. Well, at halfway through my father's life, at 40 years old, he decided that he was going to sell everything he had in Brazil, sell it all, take the money, and come to a country that he knew nothing about the culture, the people, or the language. And he did it. He came to the United States with no knowledge about any of those three subjects, and 5 years later made a multi-million-dollar company.
Ooh,
now,
that's crazy.
You sit there and tell me if you don't have enough time. People that are out there in their 20s and like me, in their 30s, in their 40s, they're sitting there going, but you know what? Like, it's too late for me already. No, it's not. I don't think you understand how long you're going to stay. Like, even if you only have to stay 10 more years of life inside a place that you hate, I don't understand why you would take those 10 years in a place that you hate because you think it's too late. Those are 10 years that you're never going to get back. That is every single day, a 24-hour period of your life that you could be putting into doing something that you enjoy. Hell, you could be 50 years old and still have time to do stuff. So people that are out there, my message to them is always, look, stop. I understand that God has a plan for every single person, has a purpose for every single person, because every single person out there has a purpose. Everyone that is born here has a purpose. You will have a purpose before you're even born. God has already given you a purpose for being on this earth, so you have something to fulfill. That is your God-given right to fulfill something. That is why you have talents, and that is why you need to strive for the greatness and the legacy that you want to leave behind. Because you're entitled to it. You're entitled to being able to go out there and make something of yourself. That is your right. Nobody can take that away from you. That is your God-given right. And if you're going to sit there and tell me that, it's too hard, it's too late, I think you need to stop and rethink your plan. I think you need to stop and honestly sit down and think about how long you want to live miserably because you're not achieving the things that you could be achieving. You're not the person that you could be. That's my thing.
Well, that was very strong, inspiring, and motivational words right there. Like, I don't know what to say after that. You pretty much hit strong points, and especially like a huge wake-up call for not only for the young but the old as well, because you still have time. But it's up for you, whoever's listening to this, to execute and take action. No one's just going to hand it out to you. You have to decide in your mind to make that jump. And that was a huge leap of faith, but he knew in his mind there's something out there that is better for him. And the fact that he flew way to the United States, not knowing even the basic stuff, but then, like you said, 5 years later, made a $1 million company. I mean, that just speaks volumes of itself. I mean, if he can do it, you can as well. But you got to believe in yourself, and you got to start taking advantage of your time. Because another key thing I got to hit on again is you're not going to get yesterday or last week or last year or a couple of months ago back. That's done. That's locked into history. What matters the most is what you're going to do today and in the future, because time is something valuable that will not rewind. It's always going to move forward. So it's up to you to start executing and make your life the best of your life.
That's very true. That is an amazing point, and it's something that you said there that really resonated with me was how you mentioned that it has to, like, it's up to you. It's not up to anybody else. A lot of people, another thing that I personally went through was when I lost my job, and I decided that I was going to do what I wanted, and I was going to open up my own business, and I was going to start making multiple sources of income for myself, no matter what it took, but it was going to happen. Even if this was just a 5-year plan, I was going to do it. One thing that I didn't have, one thing that I had extremely few of, was motivation from others, was inspiration and optimism from others. In fact, I had quite the opposite. When I spoke to my friends about the new step or, path that I was taking, decision of my life, they laughed. They said it wasn't, they laughed and they made jokes about it. Not because they're insensitive or because they're not actually my friends, but because, to them it's just they want to crack a joke about it because we're all in good fun, and that's perfectly fine. But the point is that I didn't receive anything from them. I didn't receive any optimism. I didn't receive any type of encouragement. Yeah, go for it. Get to your dreams. I didn't receive anything from them. I didn't receive anything from my parents. My parents were so far more against it than they were. At least my friends, they might have cracked jokes and they were at least funny, but they didn't not encourage me either. My parents did the quite opposite. They told me it wasn't going to work out, and that if I was so smart in doing this, that how come I wasn't able to achieve it before? And they didn't do this because they don't love me. It was quite the opposite. They did this because they were worried that I wasn't going to be able to make it. And that's to say, if I'm going to sit, but that doesn't matter. Because it's like you said, Chris, it comes from inside of you. It comes from inside of you. And so many people have the prominent problem that I think that happens within a human person, and why the majority of people don't do everything that we've mentioned so far in this episode, is because they don't have it in them to do it. That motivation, that encouragement, that taking the moment, that mentality of taking that mindset, taking your head off the pillow and saying, I am going to accomplish something today, even if it is a small task of my main goal, I will achieve it today. That is what I have to do today. If that's not the mindset that people have, nor do they have the strength to adapt it. But my thing is that I believe everyone does. Everyone does have that strength and to adapt it. I believe everyone does have that power to bring out that motivation in them. The problem is what is inside of them. That's what I believe the problem is what is inside of you. Because if I'm going through life and I'm not happy, if I'm going through life and I don't have love inside of me, how can I begin to have good things come out of me? My whole life, my entire heart is filled with love, compassion, and love for me, for others, and that all is given to me because of Jesus. That's my take on it. I accepted Jesus one day into my life, and I was given that amazing love, that amazing compassion that just overflows out of me, and I have no choice. But at that point in time, I honestly I couldn't think any other way but to say, I want to share that with the world, and I'm going to do it using the talents that I was given. So every day that I wake up, my motivation is that I have to accomplish something, because there's no way that I have so much an insurmountable amount of this love and this compassion and this amazing thing that's coming out of me that turns into the motivation that I give to others. There's no way that I cannot share that with someone. There's no way, because it's just overflowing. It comes out naturally. I have so much of it. And it's that thing. It's that people don't have what's inside of you is what's going to come out of you, whether you want it to or not. You can't bottle it up.
Awesome answer. You can basically take a lot of notes from what you were saying on, especially when it comes to pursuing what you were given with your gift and your passion, that those who don't have a full understanding of your vision are pretty much going to laugh. And it's not laughing. I mean, when it comes to that, it's because they don't understand what is inside of you. Only you understand what's inside of you.
Correct.
And then going back with the parents, it's not that they don't want to see you succeed. It's that they have, and they're fearful. They don't want to see you get hurt because they're being parents, but at the same time that hurts you because that limits you to what you need to become. It's
Correct.
like almost like holding on to the training wheels too long. It's like eventually you got to take those off. You're going to take some bumps in life and you're making some mistakes, but that's how you learn. If you think about everything that we do in life, it's not, put it like this, nobody is perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but what makes us unique at the end of the day is we learn from our mistakes and grow from that and move forward. Like if you think of all the inventions from like transportation, technology, to entertainment and much more, these people made a tremendous amount of mistakes to figure out what was the right thing. They didn't just figure it out like on the first try. They may have had to take 2 tries or 3 tries. I mean, you had people that had to take 100 tries. I mean, you had this, and I always bring this a lot of times when I have my conversation with my friends, is that like when Walt Disney was trying to get somebody to give him the funds to really get this thing going, I mean, he had to go through so many no's of so many banks telling him no. Like no one in their right mind is going to be entertained by a mouse, and they laughed at him. But at the end of the day, it became something so huge that we celebrate, and kids celebrate for happiness of the wonderful world of Disney, because he didn't allow that to stop them.
It's true. It's very much true. And you don't even have to take a look at someone like Walt Disney. Heck, you can take a look at someone like the creator of Facebook. I mean, if you ever hear the when it comes to the story of how Facebook was even made, all he said was, well, it's simple. I got over 1,000 people inside a room, and they didn't have it all at once. Like those 1,000 people didn't all sit at a room at once. It's just he went through so many interviews that he probably went through like 100,000 different interviews. But out of those 100,000 interviews, only 50 of them had people that actually wanted to do something. And out of those 50 people that actually decided to do something, only 10 of them actually put the money for it. But it wasn't the fact, like, and you look at those numbers and you're like, wow, so out of like 100,000 interviews, he only got 10 people to invest. Well, that sounds like this guy doesn't know what he's doing. That's quite the opposite. It's just because people aren't about following through always with what they start. And that's not his fault. That's not even his problem. He just kept going. He didn't care. I bet those people probably walked out of there and said, what type of idea is Facebook? And those people that didn't invest today are wishing they threw money at Facebook. And those 10 guys that invested in Facebook right now are billionaires out there in the world. So, I mean, I don't know exactly how many times you have to fail, but I do know that you only have to make it once.
Yes, very true. All right, so we have like a tremendous amount of information and value. A little on the last note, like where can they find you? Because I'm pretty sure you're gonna have people either like inboxing you, especially when you share this to your social platforms and much more. So tell the audience, where can they find you?
I'm sorry?
Now I said like we had a tremendous amount of value and information, but I want you to tell the audience like where can they find you, because I'm pretty sure you're gonna have more questions and people inspired from after hearing this episode.
Of course, yes, no. I mean, if you have any questions, if there's anything you want to, get going into, or maybe you just need like any type of encouragement, maybe you just need motivation. I mean, look, I wake up every day and I will personally message you to get you going, if that's what it takes to see you succeed, because that's all I want. I mean, you can find me on Instagram. Just type in present day _Confucius. You will find me. You can find me on Facebook. My full name, Newton Cordeiro. Just look up, think of Isaac Newton like the scientist or Cam Newton like the football player. There you go. You know, you can find me on Facebook. You can reach me on my email. It's NL and then Cordeiro, my last name, 90@gmail.com. You know, just, you can find me, and I don't mind talking to you. I don't mind helping you out. Whatever it is you need, if I can do it, man, I'll do it. All I want is to see you succeed. That's it. So you can reach me out on any of those platforms. Reach out to me. Let me know. I'm always here.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. This is another great episode of Next Level Thinking with your host, Chris Holmes. Don't let this message die down. Like, keep it going within your friends and family, because there's someone out there that needs to hear this, to push them to take it to that next level. We all need encouragement at the end of the day. So we're going to close it out. As you know, your host, Chris Holmes, and I have my special guest by the name of
Newton Cordeiro.
And we're out. Peace and much love.
The way I would